entrepreneur inside Amazon because I was getting to advocate as a product manager for the thing they thought we should build. And
Mm.
much like being outside of a company like Amazon, I needed Jeff Bezos's permission. I needed Andy Jassy's permission, Jeff Wilke. So
Wow.
all these future CEOs who signed off on some things.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
How would you like to achieve your first million? And today we have special guest, Lucas, which is the founder of DeepCast. So Lucas, welcome to the show and tell us, what are the 5 steps to make your first million?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me, Harry.
Sure.
Secondly, 5 steps. So I would say that I've made my first million and lost my first million roughly 5 times now. And the consistent step I'd say for me on the
Me too,
first step
don't
is
worry about
how
it.
uh, the first step is tends to be for me is like, what is the thing that you want to pursue that you're going to be passionate about sufficiently that you know you can commit like all of yourself to 100+%, right? That's the first step. I think the second step is the thing that you're excited about. Is there sufficient excitement from others? So my background's all in venture capital backed businesses. So can I convince other investors to put money into my idea? So this is not necessarily product market fit. This is almost like, can I sell a vision? So I'm excited about it. Can I
Wow.
create a vision that will excite others about it? Upon doing that and successfully capitalizing, which I've done a few times now, can I now identify the product market fit for my thing? And the fifth thing is, can I do so in a lean fashion that gets me to identifying product market fit faster? Those are sort of standard I think, lean business development models, but they've been highly applicable to everything I've done to date. My background is very much around building businesses. I'm not an asset allocator or a money manager. I'm sure my answer would be vastly different in those use cases, but it is very much around what am I passionate about? Because if you had something that you're not going to be sufficiently passionate about, you're not going to be able to push through the hard times. You're not going to be able to push through the times when everybody says your idea is stupid or when someone tells you that your idea isn't sufficiently large. So anyways, I think it's good to have conviction day one around the thing you're doing and decide I'm going to, in my case, I'm this sort of like, would I be willing to do this for 10 years? If I'm not willing to do it for 10 years, I just shouldn't be doing it. Because it means that's sort of my threshold for saying I have enough conviction around this thing.
Yeah, I agree with you, Lucas. And then but tell us a little bit more about you. Why you decide to become an entrepreneur? What you decided um, to,
Pursue this path.
yes, yes. You can
Yeah, for
easily find
sure.
a job in the venture capitalist firm that can pay you good money. You can have a very easy life. Why you decide to complicate your life like this?
I would say started very early because I was, building software since I was fairly young. So though I have
Oh,
liberal arts education, political science, philosophy, and comparative religion, I had my first blog in 1996 when they weren't even called
really?
blogs yet. I built it on software myself because I wanted to be able to advocate for some political positions that were very uncomfortable to my dad. But I ended up building the software to do it anyways. Go figure. Ev Williams does the same thing and builds Blogger and sells it to Google for $100 million before going on to do Twitter and then Medium. I just had this appetite to build more than anything. I just like building things. And I like building things that I think are going to have large impact and many people will find value in those. Now, I have worked at a company like Amazon, for example, but I was at Amazon in the earlier days. So in my case,
Oh, really? Wow.
we helped launch digital music as a category to Amazon, helped
Wow.
internationalize that category, helped create a consumer cloud storage solution. But I was functioning like an entrepreneur inside Amazon because I was getting to advocate as a product manager for the thing they thought we should build. And
Mm.
much like being outside of a company like Amazon, I needed Jeff Bezos's permission. I needed Andy Jassy's permission, Jeff Wilke. So
Wow.
all these future CEOs who signed off on some things. But I liked it. There's a pressure that comes with it. Certain people thrive off of the sort of adrenaline junkie nature of high risk, high reward. So one of it's high risk, high reward. The other is like, I want to see the things in my head manifest in the world. So for me, the a Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger strategy to building over time with long holds on things that clearly provide value, that model clearly works very well. It's just not one that would be satisfying for me. So I've gone down this entrepreneurial path. The other, honestly, is probably because I find it much easier to work for myself than for others, which isn't to say that I have a board. I do work technically for other people, but I tend to be the one setting direction and working with the team. So I think it's probably a combination of this like desire for autonomy, desire to succeed at massive scale, desire to fight sort of like novel new challenges and do so in a way that, impacts as many people as possible. So yes, it does come with all the bumps associated with being an
Oh my God,
entrepreneur.
Lucas, yeah, you.
I'm a glutton for punishment is what it amounts to.
Yeah, my goodness, you have a very easy life in Amazon, paying you a lot of money, and then you decide that no.
Yeah,
I
but technically
uh,
that was my first million on paper was
there you
I had
go.
enough stock option, and what did I do? I left to go join a
Oh my
startup. And I
God.
left what on paper would have been something like $7 million
Oh
in restricted stock units.
Don't continue. I just want to cry. Yeah. Oh my.
You want to cry.
No,
I want to cry as well.
if I tell you stories, I will depress you also on my stories. But I mean, in the end of the day, as entrepreneurs, it's not for everybody. It's always in our genes somehow.
Yeah.
We have this desire to create something amazing, and we go for it sometimes even without knowing the big risk that we're taking.
Yeah.
Once you're in, especially in the tech industry, it's tough. Yeah, I invest in tech company, and it's not that easy. Curiously, this podcast, Step How to Make the First Million. 1 out of 5 people that we interview around 500 people so far. 1 out of 5, 1 out of 6, they are either tech entrepreneurs or property investor entrepreneurs. What can give an indicator that it's easy to make money in real estate and it's easy to make money in tech. I don't think this indicator is correct. I mean, you can become very wealthy in tech, but those ones that succeed,
it's
the thing that the people that show up to the podcast are the people that succeed. If we talk about the people that didn't succeed, then
it'd be a larger number.
Of course, if things work out, you can become very wealthy in tech. However, let's talk about, Lucas, how to make this work. Especially, I like to talk with you, with this kind of guy like you, because the kind of guy like you are the people that give me the more headache when I'm trying to help them in the tech companies. The person, this software developer, that they are product person, that they just want to create the product to change the world, and they want to program the stuff, and they put all the energy, all the resources, all the time and money producing that thing. And at the end of the day, we need to see the other side. Who's going to buy this thing? How are we going to make it fit? And you guys, I'm not counting you. I'm saying general. The developers, the product people they're great creators. That's the thing, they're in love with the product. They're in love with writing the software and everything. So how do you, or how easy or how hard was for you to start to understand that that one thing is the product that you're creating in your head that you think is going to work? Completely different ball game is the product that the market wants to buy. And how easy was for you to surrender or to make the pivot in what you thought that should be after what the market want to buy? Were you stubborn in your idea, or you little by little you start to give up and pivot? So you say, okay, you know what? Let me turn the wheel, because what we have been more challenging is with the developers, that they have that idea that this is the software going to change the world, and they don't want to change anything. And look, it's in your head, but the market doesn't want this. Right? And it's always the case. So tell us. I want to hear.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, most people who kind of go into my background is technically product management in software, right? And I've been a multi-time founder now, but the roles are typically your sort of like B school folks who learn Porter's Five Forces, and they're learning Eric Ries's lean startup development, and they're learning the business models in practice. Then they take these roles as product managers in companies like Amazon, Google, Airbnb, Facebook, whatever it happens to be, and it's rubber meets the road with an actual functioning thing. So in the case of, so I would say that I kind of went to paid school, my paid MBA of Amazon, because Amazon
Wow.
is a highly quantitatively organized. Everyone knows they love their KPIs there. So everything had dashboards. We did weekly business reviews, monthly business reviews, quarterly business reviews, and we had tons and tons of feedback loops. So if we experiment with a given thing, and at my time there, Amazon was running something like 1 million tests on the website at any given moment. They're now running billions of tests on the website at any given moment. And a
Wow.
lot of those are designed to be feedback loops, and they're, maybe meant to prove you wrong around something that you had some conviction. So I definitely believe in the strong feelings, loosely held sort of perspective. That vision that I talked about is the first step. You have to sometimes admit that new data can be introduced that you should factor into your vision. What I have found generally is that it doesn't change the thing completely. It's like it shifts you course slightly different.
Yeah,
You're doing a
absolutely.
little
Yeah.
bit of course correct. And it's like following any sort of trend line that there's a little bit of ziggy-zaggy, but as long as you're following it, you're sort of
Yeah.
approaching and keeping the vision is more around like, it's a little less details oriented in some respects, or it definitely is, right? So like details is generally where you're found to be wrong. Like, hey, I think this thing's going to go to market well through social media marketing and product-led growth motions. You find that it doesn't work. So you need to experiment with sales-driven motions. And is it, dialing for dollars, sell or die style, or is it, hiring an outside team? Does it turn out that it's actually press that drives things because my last business was a consumer product, and lifestyle publications actually was a good source of
Wow.
inbound for us. Influencers were a good source of inbound for us.
Because it was
We didn't
direct to
necessarily,
consumer, yeah.
yeah, because it was a consumer product and consumers wanted to hear from sort of the places that they were used to hearing it. But going back to like, I think your original question is, you know,
Hmm.
I was at one company where we frequently said we have to be prepared to kill our baby. And this
Wow.
was, I had a
Wow, that's
very strong,
powerful. That's very powerful.
it's also very macabre as a statement, but it's
Yeah.
also very powerful, right? We had a designer who would like stress over, so he had designed the settings icon on 4 different versions of Mac OS. And he during the Steve Jobs era, right? And so he worked
Wow.
for us, and he really went into he loved the things he built, but he was the one who would turn around the next day and say, we're not getting any traction on this feature, or the design I did is completely not working. I know I loved it. Let's go back at it again next week. And I think this is where like you're anchoring the steps to achieve your mission and knowing that those steps can change, and just being like, there's so many paths to achieve sometimes that vision.
100%.
And so like if our vision, for example, for DeepCast is unlocking the value of the world's spoken knowledge, there are many ways we can do that. It could be a consumer-oriented product. It could be a podcast-oriented product. It could be an enterprise product for brands, marketers, media entities. But the goal is unlocking this stuff that's trapped within an audio format. Well, there are many paths to accomplish that. And sometimes it's the order of operations of the paths. It may be that the consumer is not the high revenue opportunity, but it's the wedge into the market that gets you brand recognition that you use to leverage on the other things that generate significant amount of revenue. But I think, it fundamentally comes back to strong feelings loosely held. If you get new data, factor it in. I think if you listen to VCs, VC pods, they love to talk about first principles all the time. It's a good reminder to kind of go back to those things. What is the real motivator for someone using this? So I could go on and on here, but I think the moral of the story is you have to be prepared to change direction. And if you're too stubborn, things generally fail.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.